and it looked like Chennedy Carter has finally broken her silence about this Caitlin Clark situation. Chennedy Carter just jumped out the window and justified an assault on Caitlin Clark.
Chennedy Carter just broke her silence on the Caitlin Clark situation. And trust us, it didn't go the way she hoped. In fact, her attempt to explain herself might have just revealed the real shocking truth about why a player who dropped 17 points per game last season is currently jobless while WNBA training camps are opening. Was it just a basketball play, or did that infamous hip check seal her fate in a league rapidly changing? Let's expose what's truly going on behind the headlines.
Can you break down that situation that happened?
Yeah. So, in basketball a little bit, there's things called talking, what you like to call smack or whatever everybody likes to call it.
Yeah.
Plays before things are said, you know, that's a part of basketball.
So we know Chennedy Carter has always been kind of up against the fence when speaking about this Caitlin Clark situation. We remember when she first got asked about this during a press conference, she stated that she wasn't going to speak on Caitlin Clark. Now we know months later, she still hasn't spoken on the whole situation. That is until today. Yes, Chennedy Carter finally broken her silence about the Caitlin Clark hip check.
Remember that moment last June that exploded across sports? It was a seemingly routine game between the Chicago Sky and Indiana Fever until Chennedy Carter veered sharply across the court after scoring a basket. Her path wasn't towards the defensive end. It was directly towards an unsuspecting Caitlin Clark. There was no basketball reason for it. Replays showed Carter saying a few choice words, eyeing Clark, and then delivering a hard, deliberate shoulder check that sent the league's new superstar sprawling to the hardwood. What was initially called a common foul, something that happens constantly in a game, was immediately upgraded to a flagrant foul upon review. The footage was undeniable. This wasn't incidental contact. It was an off-ball, intentional blow delivered well after the play was over. It wasn't just a tap, it was a calculated collision.
And Clark. I mean, that's clearly a foul, which was called. The question is, will they call it unnecessary? Chennedy Carter.
What she said to the media.
Kind of on the play before bumping in with Caitlin, it seemed like she turned to you a little bit after the Fever
I
score.
didn't answer no Caitlin Clark questions.
Did she say anything to you?
I don't know what she said.
What'd you say to her?
I didn't say anything. I think a play before, maybe I was elbowed. Okay, that happens. Think the next play down, maybe something was said. And then maybe there was like a little clip of somebody like yelling in my face. And then we go down the court. Then I hit like a little bucket, you feel me? Come down, hit like a little nice little mid-range pull up. And then I just like, you know, just give her like a little like, I'm here. Like, you know, I don't think it was, you know what's crazy? Me and my brother went back and watched, and we seen a lot of clips in the NBA of guys getting like pushing LeBron. Like I think it was Jeff Teague or somebody who like pushed LeBron out of bounds, like said, man, I was mad because like we couldn't stop him.
The reaction was instantaneous and fierce. Commentators and fans erupted, recognizing it wasn't standard physical play. Many saw it as a deliberate attempt to intimidate or even harm Clark. While the basketball world debated the intent, Clark herself offered a masterclass in professionalism. Despite being blindsided and knocked down, she simply got up, brushed herself off, and focused on the next play. No dramatics, no retaliation. It was a stark contrast. Meanwhile, when Carter was first asked about the incident in the immediate aftermath, she infamously stated she wasn't going to speak on Caitlin Clark at all, a response that did little to quell the building controversy.
I mean, that happens, man. Like, it's one of those things. I'm a great player. She's a great player. It looks a certain way. Everybody's going to have their views on it. But my personal view is, you know, I don't have anything against her. She's a great player, and so am I. And I've got buckets all that season. You know what I'm saying? So, just one of those things that, I love it though. They think I hate it. I love it. I love when it gets riled up and juicy like that.
You feed off of like what people say and shit, and it makes you more motivated.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Oh yeah, I love the hate. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So she was signed to the Chicago Sky with Teresa Weatherspoon, with Angel Reese, with Camila Cardoso, and you know, the rest of the folks. And then we get to the body check. This was originally ruled an away from the ball foul, but It was obviously a flagrant foul. It really upset a lot of people, which really escalated the issue. And it was really just poor sportsmanship on Kennedy's part.
But this wasn't Carter's first time generating unwanted attention for her conduct. Her history of volatility became a major talking point after the Clark incident brought her under the microscope. Back in 2021, while playing for the Atlanta Dream, she was suspended indefinitely for what the team publicly called conduct detrimental to the team. Reports surfaced of a heated argument that escalated far beyond acceptable bounds. This pattern of behavior had already raised significant red flags about her professionalism and her ability to function within a team structure, ultimately leading to her being traded from Atlanta to the Sparks. It seemed issues of temperament and team fit weren't new.
What's particularly revealing is how officials initially deemed it merely a common foul, a routine call that happens dozens of times each game. But once they reviewed the footage, they immediately upgraded it to a flagrant. The replays don't lie. This wasn't incidental contact during a play. This was an off-ball, intentional blow delivered after a completed basketball action.
It's one thing pushing Caitlin Clark, and it's another thing blindsiding her. Like, I don't think there's no justification for that. Like, to be honest, we can be honest here.
Now, what little girl wants to grow up and play in a league where you're targeted like that? How do you sit here and profess and demand that everyone take...
The timing of the Clark incident couldn't have been worse for a player with existing question marks. The WNBA is experiencing unprecedented growth, fueled significantly by Clark's arrival and skyrocketing popularity. Viewership and attendance records are shattering, and the league is rightfully protective of this momentum. With increased mainstream attention comes an intense focus on professionalism, image, and player conduct. In this environment, an off-ball flagrant foul targeting the league's most prominent star stood in stark contrast to the positive, competitive image the WNBA is desperately cultivating.
Women's sports seriously when you can't even take it seriously enough to not act like a junior high queen on the court. It's stupid. That's so dumb. It looks like a soap opera.
This wasn't Carter's first rodeo when it comes to on-court issues. Her history of volatility became a major talking point after the Clark incident. In 2021, while playing for the Atlanta Dream, she was suspended indefinitely for what the team called conduct detrimental to the team, following a heated argument that escalated beyond acceptable bounds. This pattern of behavior had already raised red flags about her professionalism and ability to function within a team structure.
Atlanta Dream did suspend her in the middle of the sophomore season, basically saying she was a detriment to the team and the team culture. So then the Atlanta Dream decided to trade her to the Sparks, the Los Angeles Sparks.
After months of near total silence about the defining moment of her career, Chennedy Carter finally decided to speak. Just days ago, with WNBA training camps set to open and her own free agency prospects looking bleak, she sat down for an interview with streamer Neon. This was her chance to set the record straight, to offer her side of the story. What she said, however, left many in disbelief. She casually dismissed the deliberate hip check as just talking smack, giving her a little I'm here energy. She attempted to minimize the impact, claiming it was just a nice little tap. Even more astonishingly, she introduced a brand new detail never mentioned before, that she might have been elbowed before the play, a supposed provocation conveniently absent from any prior accounts or video evidence. She even compared her actions to physical plays between male players in the NBA, attempting to normalize her extreme off-ball contact.
I said Chennedy Carter wasn't going to make a WNBA roster. And as it sit, April 20th, training camps start for teams in 7 days. Training camp for a majority of the WNBA start April the 27th. Chennedy Carter is not on any WNBA roster. Want to know why? Because it's Chennedy Carter's fault she's not on any WNBA rosters.
She did. She stopped and went through. That is not... We watched the clip. There is no way that we're letting this happen. Saying that it was nothing. This is not just a tap.
The reaction to her interview was swift and overwhelmingly skeptical. Social media erupted, calling out what many saw as transparent damage control and a desperate attempt to rewrite history. Fans and analysts pointed to the stark contradiction between her nonchalant description and the clear video evidence showing significant, intentional contact. Her sudden claim of being elbowed was quickly debunked by replays, making her attempted justification ring completely hollow. Phrases like, "She's still not taking responsibility," and "You seriously don't believe her, do you?" flooded online discussions. The timing of her breaking silence, precisely when teams are finalizing rosters, looked less like genuine contrition and more like a last-ditch emergency PR effort to salvage a rapidly sinking career.
So I'm just like, it's like one of those things, like, it happens in basketball. I know people try to say, oh, it's not one of those things.
It's not a personal thing, it's a competitive thing.
It happens in basketball, and like, it's just one of those things. But like, yeah, it's kind of what happened, then it spiraled out of control.
And then the media takes whatever narrative they want to
Do
put
you
out.
watch every game, every single game, to see if you can find any deflects in my game, and like, it's really nothing that you probably could say too much about. So then you have trolls, and that's what I said. They're gonna be around regardless. But yeah, it was just like a nice little like tap, like I'm here, not to like harm you or anything. You know, if you want to push somebody, you're gonna like full force.
Social media wasted no time calling out the obvious damage control operation. One fan's comment perfectly captured the collective eye roll. "You all seriously don't believe her, do you?" This reaction wasn't isolated. Basketball communities across platforms responded with similar skepticism to what many view as a desperate attempt at image rehabilitation.
And the consequences are now glaringly obvious. Despite being a proven scorer who averaged 17.5 points per game last season, Chennedy Carter remains completely unsigned with training camps just days away. In a league constantly searching for offensive talent, a player who scored at that level is essentially unemployed. This is almost unprecedented in WNBA history. Want to know just how telling this is? The Chicago Sky, her former team, didn't even offer her a qualifying contract. They simply let their leading scorer walk away for absolutely nothing. In professional basketball, teams do not allow players with that level of scoring ability to leave unless there are serious, fundamental issues far outweighing their on-court production.
This is crazy, and this changes everything, because all this time we've been waiting on Chennedy Carter to take responsibility for what she did to Caitlin Clark. It shows me, I ain't even got to watch all this footage right here, but I am going to look at it. But it's showing me right now that she still is not taking responsibility for her actions. She's finna blame this whole situation on Caitlin Clark supposedly talking smack to her. This is a bad look, bro. This is her pretty much begging for a team to pick her up. Oh, it's just part of basketball. That's not part of basketball, bro. What you did to Caitlin Clark, you can't justify that assault. Chennedy Carter just jumped out the window and justified an assault on Caitlin Clark.
So why exactly is a player who can light up the scoreboard being shunned by every single WNBA team? It's become brutally clear it's not about her talent. It's about everything else. It's about the history of being deemed detrimental to the team. It's about the highly publicized, deliberate nature of the Clark incident. And crucially, it's about her repeated inability or unwillingness to take genuine accountability for her actions, highlighted by her recent interview where she attempted to downplay and justify the defining moment of her career. Teams are concerned about her impact on locker room chemistry, her perceived volatility, and whether she represents a risk to the carefully constructed environment needed for success. An anonymous WNBA executive didn't mince words when speaking to a reporter, stating teams wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole. This brutal honesty reveals just how toxic her reputation has become across the league. Teams aren't just worried about signing her. They're worried her presence could make it harder to attract and retain other players.
Her actions prove that no team is willing to bet their luck on her. Now, granted, she's a dominant scorer, excellent basketball player in certain aspects of the game, but her behavior on and off the court is making it look real shady for her to get picked up by a team.
And there has not been a peep about anywhere that she could be landing in this free agency. So a lot of people, including myself, are wondering, is she worth the risk now?
I mean, she can score. She can score with the lights out. I mean, she can. She's pure offense, a pure shooting guard, scoring guard, instant offense. But if you're a team, do you really want her on the team? I wouldn't. I mean, good luck. Good luck. I don't know who's going to take her. I don't know what teams are going to take her. No, I don't think she's going to the Indiana Fever. I mean, yeah, bring her in after what happened. I don't think so.
Come on. Cheer for your teammates, be a part of this team, and then ensues an altercation between the two where Chennedy Carter was sent to the locker room mid-game, of which afterwards, after the game, this is what has been reported. I guess Chennedy Carter wanted to fight Courtney Williams, like physically fight Courtney Williams, who backed away from this and was like, no way. So there was no actual physical altercation that happened.
To an extent, like you can criticize, especially on the court, when somebody 100% cheap shots your favorite player. Like, there's a level of going at it. We all know with Chennedy Carter, it went way too far. Like, we can be honest here, it did go way too far with Chennedy.
In this new era of the WNBA, marked by unprecedented growth and a spotlight on professionalism driven significantly by the very player Carter targeted, the league and its teams are sending a powerful, undeniable message. Talent alone isn't enough. Character, accountability, and being a reliable teammate who doesn't deliberately target opponents after the whistle are paramount. As Caitlin Clark prepares for her highly anticipated sophomore season, fueling the league's expansion, Chennedy Carter's absence serves as a stark reminder that actions, and the failure to take responsibility for them, can have career-ending consequences. Her attempt to rewrite the narrative didn't convince anyone. It only underscored why she remains on the outside looking in.